And the first time I had COVID, I lost my taste and smell for a few days. It wasn't very long. It was just a few days. But this time it's been a few weeks. Since August 4th, I think it is. August 3rd is when I actually tested positive. August 4th is where it kind of hit me the worst. And that's when I started losing my taste and smell. My husband lost his, he got it too for a couple days. He got his back, he's back to normal. Hit me a little harder. Y'all know I have my vitamin D level struggle. So that's why it's hitting me harder because I have low vitamin D. But the taste and smell thing really does suck because I miss tasting my plants. But I just try to here's the thing, when you have COVID, I didn't realize this is a side effect is anorexia because you're not hungry. Like I know 4 or 5 people right now who just went through it and they're going through the same thing I am. And some have got their taste and smell back, but their hunger, it does something with your hunger hormones where it suppresses it and you're not hungry. And its side effect not only is losing weight, which I don't want to lose weight. It's not what I'm here to do. I want to build a nice, strong body, but we're just not hungry. And unfortunately, your stomach will eat itself inside out. And that's when I know I'm hungry. And I'm like, oh, I better eat. So I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to a normal schedule. Let me have breakfast, a smoothie with as many plants as I can. Of course, it's not my normal dose. It was just a smaller one. Lunch.
Dose.
My dose of my plants. I love my daily dose of plants. not this dose. No, it's this dose. I'm drinking my plants in my smoothie. But that's
a plant.
Yeah,
all right, we're going off. Sorry, go ahead. I'm just joking.
The medicinal. No, I don't do that either. But the second one is like eating in a salad form. You guys know I love a giant salad. And literally the salads are cut in half because after a few bites, you start getting full, or a few drinks or smoothie, it cuts you off. It's like your body can't take anymore. It's like I ate gorge. It's really weird. You feel literally stuffed. So we were just doing the best that we can. And then dinner was the same thing. I would have more of a hot meal, substantial, but I was trying to add higher protein, more tofu to things, beans, extra. So I'd have a higher protein content because there's a week where I didn't eat. I was basically fasting for 3 days, unintentionally, but long story short, I just want to heal my body and nourish it. And that's the point of all these plants. And I'm glad that challenge came at the right time, Jacque, because I feel like I needed to force myself to eat, number one, but force myself to eat nourishing, healing foods. One, I can't taste. So there's no point in me eating terrible. So if you ever lose your taste and smell, you might as well eat healthy because you can't taste crap.
All right, time out, because this is a really, really key element, Marcia. So many people would say completely the opposite. Well, I can't taste, so I'm going to try and eat this hyper palatable food to see if I can taste now. No. It's all mindset. And I so love that was your mindset. Your mindset was like, well, I can't taste anything, so I might as well eat all this nourishing and healing foods. And you were saying the same thing to Keith, and you were bringing in nourishing and healing foods to you guys. So y'all, it's all in that mindset. And Marcia, it's so awesome that you were so open about that and that you shared that a lot. And I think that's key. And if this is the only thing that you guys hear on this entire goal call, is I want it to be that. Literally, if you can't taste or smell anything, force yourself to eat, have smaller doses of the meals or whatever. I love that too.
But the plants are medicinal, you know?
Yes, girl, they are. But also choose nourishing and healing foods to help you heal through the process, especially if you can't taste. So I think that's golden. So anyway, go ahead.
You guys, it's funny. My husband was on the same track with me. As soon as he got his taste and smell back, he was back to screw it. I'm eating a burger and some fries. I'm like, what? You just got done being sick. You need to eat healthy. I was like, but he's like, psh. It was kind of funny. So we're obviously on different programs. He fared way better than me. His vitamin D level is way higher than mine. Mine's lower. You guys know that for almost 8 years now, I've struggled with my vitamin D. 2 years ago in 2019 was the first time it went up to 55, I think it was, which is still in the low end. 50 is the low part. 55 was right over it. I'm at 36, guys. It's not good. And I do everything. I try to get my sunshine without sunscreen, go on a couple walks a day, not just one, but the morning for the circadian rhythm, to get your body reset. I try to go in the high time of day, 10 to 12 to get the sunshine, the vitamin D without sunscreen. And then we try to go at night too, not really night, but it's 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock we do on walks. So we try to get out 3 times a day. And we've been doing this pretty active since Austin, really made us do these walks. And obviously pandemic and COVID, we would hike and stuff like that. We lived in Austin. We don't have that here in Dallas. So we just got to get out. But 3 times a day walking, and then I try to go to the gym. I supplement. I'm on prescription strength right now. Again, this is my 3rd time in my probably 8 years of doing the prescription strength at 50,000 IU once a week. You only could do it for 15 weeks, and then you got to go back to lower doses because it's not very good for you to do too long over the 12, was it 15 weeks, I think they said, or 12 weeks? I can't remember. But anyway, long story short, COVID hit me a little harder than my husband because I am low in vitamin D. And that's why another reason I had vertigo too. There's something with vertigo and vitamin D. They're related. That's what the lady at the ER told me. I had to go to the ER, not because of the breathing situation so much. It was my coughing, yes, was out of control, but it was my vertigo was so bad. And I didn't realize the two were related. And I told her I had low vitamin D just so that they would know. And she was like, that's why it's hitting you harder. So you guys are like, oh my God, you're the healthiest person I know. Everybody keeps saying that to me, but I don't know why we cannot get my vitamin D levels up. And I've actually worked with 3 different doctors and got lots of opinions, did YouTube University to asking professional opinions. And a lot of the doctors did say at the end of the day, they don't know why there is a huge rise. Like if you're really doing the protocol, not people that are inside, not getting out, but the people that are in the protocol, there is a rising cases of why supplementation is not working or either in the sun. Even like they said that surfers are actually vitamin D deficient and they're out in the sun. So I don't know, you guys, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And another thing that you've done, which is a really key thing, is you're taking your vitamin D supplement with a meal that has fat, because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, and it's more easily absorbed when you're eating fat to help it like get to your tissues. So that's another thing that you're also doing correctly, which is amazing. And hopefully we'll get that situated very soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. But anyways, that's the little tips. If you're vitamin D deficient, obviously work with the doctor, know your numbers, and always eat your vitamin D with a healthy fat. So that's the tip of the day from us.
That's another
I took my vitamins.
So many nuggets. Yep, seriously, we have so many nuggets today. But I have another shout out with a plant tracker. Michelle Poole-Deaton, she is one of our newer plant chicks. She's been with us maybe a couple months now, but she literally is new to the plant-based lifestyle. She joined the tribe shortly after she went plant-based. And y'all, she got in like, don't quote me, 71 or 72 plants for the week. And she is a new plant chick. This is crazy amazing. So remember all your whole foods, and you're not recounting. So if you had a red cherry tomato on Monday and then you have it again on Thursday, you don't count it twice. These are completely new plants, but any fruits, any vegetables, any whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, and also herbs and spices, but not the ones that are from the medicine cabinet, from the spice cabinet.
It is medicine. Tip of the day, everything we're talking about is medicinal.
It really is. But literally it's like the dill that you like pluck from your garden, or if you get like a dill tree from the grocery store, or like the fresh herbs that you get from the grocery store or the farmer's market, those count. But the like cinnamon that I have in my spice rack, that doesn't count. Even though it's great, I'm still going to put it in my food, put it in my coffee. I'm going to still drink it or eat it, but it doesn't count on the plant tracker. So shout out to Michelle. And then also Robin and Wendy. So Wendy is actually the one who kind of got us thinking about doing like a back to school challenge. So shout out to Wendy for getting this challenge up and going, seriously. And it was fun because she participated. She got some of her work friends to participate. So that was amazing. And then Robin is always like super motivated and super involved, and Ashley as well. Yes. Ashley did a really great job. She was over 30. I don't remember her exact numbers.
35.
But she was 35. Thank you. She was actually traveling that week, so she wasn't fully in charge of like all her foods. And she also did some batch cooking. So she was eating off some of the same foods throughout the week. But y'all, this is also key because we do talk about batch cooking in here and meal prepping. And this is a really good example of showing you that when you do like plan your meals for the week and you do batch cook, it's still possible. Ashley is a prime example. It's still possible to get in your 30 plants every week. So huge congratulations to everyone who participated. And you guys, we really do encourage you to keep doing this. Like print out that sheet again and again and again. Yeah, keep doing it. Like literally, it'd be fun for you to track like several weeks back to back to see how you're doing. Or like if you're like Marcia, if you're just coming off like being out, or if you need something to like pick yourself up, it's a really, really good opportunity for you to like get involved, get like bring this back to the forefront of your mind and start looking to see how you are doing in your nourishing and healing journey of plant-based living.
Yeah, I want to add to that. So Michelle, you didn't say the numbers. Michelle, you had 71 plants, which is kick-ass. Kirsten had 54 while camping, you guys.
Oh yes,
Camping.
right.
Yes, that is freaking amazing. Yeah, Ashley had 35. So it's kind of cool to see all the numbers, you know, like people like tracking it.
Also cool to see the numbers and the different ways. So Ashley was at 35 with batch cooking and not being at home. Freaking Kirst, 50, what was it?
54.
54 while camping. Y'all, Kirst is my best friend from high school, and her husband just retired, and they're literally like on the road for 3 months, and she freaking nailed it. 54 plants in a week while camping. Hashtag no excuses. Marcia, not feeling well, not wanting to eat. 45 plants. Boom. No excuses, ladies. No excuses.
Yeah, you just got to do it. I remember Mel Robbins has a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like my mindset, like say when you're sick, you're not feeling well, you think in your head you want to eat crap food and you'll feel better. That was my initial thing, because it's like I don't feel well, da da da. But I'm like, no, I literally, you know, I had 3 days I was basically fasting. I did not feel well. And when I had COVID, the vertigo thing was making me throw up. So I didn't have a lot in my stomach besides the fasting part. I knew I needed to get instantly. So I even ordered green juices. Like I couldn't go shopping or anything. I had to be quarantined for 14 days. So Keith and I stayed home and we just Instacarted our food, and we had food in, and literally I was like Instacarting green juices from the green juice place. So we would have those, making smoothies. I knew I needed nourishment and healing foods in my body just to boost my immune system. You know, and thankfully I can't taste anything. So it was like, you don't know what's good, what's not, you know? And usually like I love, you know, coffee. I have a love-hate relationship with it. When you're not feeling well, coffee doesn't sound good. So I didn't have any coffee. And I never had coffee for almost 3 weeks straight. I recently started incorporating back in for that. Now that I feel better, I have the caffeine high. But when you're sick, the coffee doesn't doesn't, you know, the taste of it doesn't sound good, but I couldn't taste anyway. So it really didn't matter, because I do like coffee, not only for the caffeine boost, but for the taste. And it was just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, so I just kind of stayed away for 3 weeks, and I thought, let me just put nourishing and healing foods. So again, whether you're camping or you're out of town or batch cooking, or you're coming off being sick, the best thing you can do is to boost your immune system. Is by nourishing and healing foods. Now, it's not going to prevent you from getting illness or disease, like certain diseases and illnesses, or some people, you know, say COVID. They didn't, I mean, you guys, obviously, I'm one of the healthiest people I know. I still got it. It still kind of hit me hard for 3 days, and I'm low in vitamin D. So with that being said, I still have to bounce back. You have to think positive, and you just got to do it. Like, you know, the part of me in my head was like, oh my gosh, I just want to like, you know, die in my bed and not eat and just eat terrible foods and not work out ever again. You know, that part of you is like, what's that all for? You know, but the other part of you is like, no, you're going to get your butt up. You're going to drink a smoothie. You're going to do this. And then I was slowly incorporating back my cardiovascular again, because you guys know with COVID, the coughing in your lungs. So I was able to do a few, you know, 30-minute Peloton sessions. I did some yoga. I've done some Pilates, a little more or less, like I could do super hard cardio, but I definitely want to get my lungs back. You know what I mean? So, and I was walking outside, trying to make laps and stuff and getting some vitamin D. So again, it always goes back to, if you start sliding or get sick, and you remember, if you my normal stuff, my normal daily schedule was starting to unravel when you're sick, and it doesn't go back. So it's up to me and my responsibility to get that back on track and to put those foods in my mouth. So this plant tracker is for anybody. It's totally free. We'll put it in the links in the comments, that way you can download it. And you guys, at any time, you don't have to wait for a challenge. Do it on your own, print it off, put it, like, see what you are, and do it just for 7 days. 7 days is a small challenge for yourself, and just see how many plants you're eating. And if 1 week you do like 20 plants, maybe the next week try for 25 plants, right? Just, you know, you just want to incorporate more nutrition as you make your way through a healthy lifestyle. That's what it's all about.
No, and that's beautiful. You said it so perfectly. And I just put the link in the comments. So if
Thank you.
yeah, if you haven't downloaded the Plant Tracker, super, super easy, free to do. Go to our website, download it, boom, boom, boom. You'll get 3 emails and it's just kind of like cheering you on through the week. And then that's it. That's all the emails that you
Please
get with.
post in here so we can cheer you on live.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Because it's always fun. And literally, if you do it, there will be other women who will be like, all right, I got to get on this. I want to do it too. Because it's fun. It's literally fun to see where you like land and end up.
Having
So
a goal or a challenge just motivates you to keep going. So
it is. It's always motivating and exciting. And it's like fun. It's even more fun to do it with other women. So we've got to get like re-energize our tribe, get y'all on fire. Like the kids are finally back at school, or maybe they're not, maybe they're at home, or maybe they're virtual, or whatever they are. But it's time to start paying attention to yourself. Like you need to put you and your health and your well-being first. Like they talk about with the mask, the oxygen mask while you're flying. If anything happens to the plane, the oxygen mask will come down. Put it on yourself first so that you can help your loved ones. And that's the same thing. Like you need to put your workout first. You need to put your nutrition, your healthy and nourishing and healing foods first so that you can show up and be there to support your friends, your family, your loved ones, whoever it is. If you are caretaking, because we've got a couple women in the tribe, you're in that sandwich generation. You've got kids that you're taking care of, but you also have aging parents that you're taking care of. And it's hard. It's really, really difficult. Lean in on us, ladies. That's what we're here for. We need to do this together. We can lift one another up. If you're going through something, post it in here. Let us know, because more than likely there's someone else in the tribe who's also experiencing something very similar. So super excited to get like you guys going on like the Plant Chics journey. And Marcia, do you want to, since we are growing so much, do you want to, let's reintroduce ourselves and like let everyone know how we started and like our story, and then we'll go from there. So you go first.
yeah, we do have a lot of new people. So if you're new to the group, welcome. I see Michelle Dean obviously posting and I'm like, oh, that's a new face. We got some old school faces too, cheering each other on. It's always good, like if you've been a little wallflower and you come back into the thing, you know, take a break and you come back. We like to see, we grow, right? We change and we grow. I'm not the same person as I was a month ago, right? So it's like about evolving, changing and growing and seeing the silver lining and some of the hard stuff, right, that we go through in life. Like no one's going without stuff. So with that being said, I'm just going to give you the cliff notes of my life. No, the cliff notes of my health journey, because that's why we do Plant Chics. I grew up watching my mom do fad diets. I was a little girl that watched my mom struggle with her weight, and she would do workout videos like, you know, Richard Simmons, Dancing to the Oldies and Buns of Steel and stuff. So I grew up loving health and fitness. And I grew up watching my mom do diets, fad diets. That I was the girl when I turned like 18, I went out into the world on my own. I did fad diets, right? So from 18 to 28, I did fad diets. So let me go back though. When I was at home, I was eating the standard American diet and the standard American Mexican diet. I'm obviously half Mexican. So we had a lot of Mexican stuff, but very fatty with lots of lard. Okay, lots of lard, lots of pork in our family. So with that being said, I went from eliminating a lot of the processed type of foods, you know, like getting rid of lard, and I wasn't eating the normal stuff like tortillas made with lard and all that. But I was started having lean cuisines, and I was going to boot camp. And I was obsessed with being skinny. Healthy was not even a concept to me. So I wanted to be skinny, 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 skinny. And I was like, I have to eat low calorie this, and I have to eat high protein, and I have to do, you know, all this exercise. That was my mentality for the longest time, because I literally was mauling my mom. Come at 28, I was going to school to be a nurse, and I decided, you know, when I was in my last year of nursing school, it's not what I wanted to do. I loved all the extracurricular things like weight training and yoga and walking class and running class. I had all these different classes you have to take in college for that. And I decided to become a personal trainer and get certified, because I love the preventative side of health versus being, you know, the nurses that are taking care of. It wasn't in my field. I come from a long line of nurses. Even my sister's a nurse. My mom's a nurse. My grandmother's a nurse. I have some aunts that are nurses, and my cousins are nurses. So I do come from a long line of RNs, and it wasn't for me. I love the preventative side, and I loved it so much that here I am 18 years later, still doing it. But with that being said, at 35, I decided to go plant-based because I had been through high protein diets. As a fitness competitor from 18 to 35, 28 to 35, I started learning about real nutrition. And after I became a personal trainer, and I got sucked into the trap of doing these personal training fad diets. And then what are these personal training fad diets? It's diets like keto, the competition diet, because I was a bikini fitness competitor, anything low carb, high protein. In that world of a personal trainer was acceptable. And I did that for so long that I landed in the hospital 3 different times with kidney stones. And my body said, no, Marcia, you cannot do high protein, low carb, moderate fat for an extended amount of period of time, or you're landing back in the hospital. So by the 3rd time, the doctors connected it to my diet. They thought I was drinking a lot of Coca-Cola or some kind of, soda, because people get that kidney stones for drinking soda. They thought I was allergic to, not allergic, but maybe I was eating too much spinach. I guess that gives you kidney stones too. I remember them asking my leafy green intake and a couple other things. And I was like, letting them know my diet. And then they saw how much animal protein I was eating from breakfast. I was eating 5 times a day because I was a fitness competitor, but breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. And it was way too much with the low carb that it actually made my body was having a hard time processing the high protein. And I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought protein, animal protein equals muscle, that's what I was thinking, but it did me a disservice. So I felt like it worked until it didn't work, right? And then I landed me there. But I discovered through that experience, there was a registered dietitian. It's like she instantly knew. She was like, she told me to be on a low protein diet, which I never heard of in my life. We hear high protein in the media. For my mom, I watched my mom go on fad diets like the South Beach, and she was doing Atkins before I did Atkins. So I was really well versed in the high protein world. Low protein wasn't even a concept. I thought, oh my God, I'll lose the time, I'll lose all my muscle. But she gave me this paper, and I never forget, I just looked at the paper and it said vegan diet. No, I was kidding. I thought it said vegan diet, but it said vegan diet. It's a low protein vegan diet. And she had some book recommendations for me to read because I didn't have enough. Let me tell you, I didn't have enough fresh food, you guys. I had a lot of cooked food. All my food was cooked. She's like, I don't see anywhere where you're eating any fresh foods beside a little bit of berries. That's all I was eating because it was a low fat, like a low protein, not low protein, low carb fruit. It was berries. So I was like, I had to think beyond. I was scared to eat a banana. I thought fruit was going to make me fat. I thought bananas were going to make me fat. I was so scared. I would only eat like berries. That was the only fruit I was allowing myself because it was low carb or low sugar. I was literally on that train. That's when I decided to get nutritionally educated. I followed her nutrition plan for 30 days because I thought, what's another fad diet, you guys? I was that person, like, give me another diet. Like, you know what I mean? And I didn't realize there needed to be a lifestyle in place. I kept going from fad diet to fad diet to fad diet. So you could say I've learned a thing or two. And I decided to embrace at the time, they didn't call it plant-based. It wasn't a term. Plant-based came later on. I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago, plant-based came out. But when I've been almost vegan for almost 12 years. So it was either you're vegan, vegetarian, or you're a meat eater. It was like those 3 categories. And I consider myself vegan because I gave up dairy before I gave up meat because I had cystic acne. So that I gave up dairy 5 years before I gave up meat. So I was literally on the meat train. When I got off of that, then obviously I was vegan at that point. But now I like the term whole food plant-based because vegan is more of an ethical thing. At the time, I didn't know much about ethical stuff with the animals and all that and the cruelty and what to wear. I was just focused on my health because that was what mattered to me. Because when you lose your health, you pay attention. At least it woke me up. So I paid attention and was like, I need to nourish and heal. And I realized plants do have protein. And oh, guess what? A banana is not going to make me fat. And here I am 12 years later, I'm not protein deficient. I did not gain a bunch of, fat from all this other stuff, like from eating extra fruit and sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. I've learned to live a lifestyle of eating real whole plant-based foods with nourishing and healing. And this is why Jacque and I do what we both do. You'll hear her story in a second. But we both have these different backgrounds where we struggled with our nutrition. We struggled with basically our identity on how, like, what should we do? Like, like as a woman, I think it's hard because we get sucked into diet culture. It's like we're supposed to be skinny. We're not skinny. Like we have a whole part of us focusing on food and working out to be skinny. But when we learn to change our mindset, this is the mental muscle, is the hardest muscle to change. When I changed this, everything else changed. The body came later, all the other stuff. But it was about, instead of, dieting, I was nourishing. And instead of, exercising to death, I was actually moving my body in different ways for benefits. And then also my mental health. I had to work on it a lot because I had a very negative mentality, and I still struggle with it to this day. I'm not going to say I'm back and I wake up every day happy and positive, woohoo, because it doesn't happen. We all have struggles, but it's how you handle the struggle. Like I have tools now to handle the struggles when you come back. And this is what we hope Plant Chics is for you. Like maybe you do slip off and, you get off the bus and you go do something, you come back on, but it's all about having the tools and the resources and the support group to connect back in. Because if you're unhealthy for a while and then you decide, I want to try it again or come back in, or maybe you just revamp it, know that Plant Chics are here for you because we've been through there. We're not here to judge you whether you're fully plant-based or not. That's not what the Plant Chics is about. It's about adding more plants to your plate and to your lifestyle and making, what you do on the daily, what's your healthy. It's all about finding you're healthy. My healthy is different from Jacque's healthy. Jacque's healthy is different from your healthy. So we're here to help you find your healthy.
I love that. And you guys, I can never get sick of listening to your story, Marcia. I think it's really, really powerful that you had like some pretty significant things happen to you. And those were some things that's like started your whole journey, like your cystic acne. Some people might think that it's vanity, but you were competing, you were modeling, and you wanted to do something so that you didn't have to like cover it up as much. And I think it's amazing that your dermatologist, your doctor was like, get rid of dairy. That's like the first thing that she recommended. That's powerful because so many doctors don't even know things nutritionally that you can do. So that was powerful. And I applaud you for giving it up because it's all mindset. There's so many people, like dairy was the last thing that I gave up, and I'll get to my story in a second. Dairy was the last thing that I gave up because I loved it so much, and it was just something I grew up with, and it was something very hard for me to give up. But you were able to get rid of it right away when the doctor was like, no, you got to get rid of this, and it will help with that acne immediately. And then another one was the freaking like kidney stones. And y'all, did you hear her? It wasn't one time that she had these kidney stones, super painful that she had to laser it out. Not even two. It took her 3 times. So sometimes it's like that we have to have a sucker punch in our gut to hear these things. But they finally referred you to a dietitian who also was knowledgeable. And there's so many dietitians who aren't knowledgeable in so many areas. And I think it's really powerful that you had some amazing caregivers who gave you really good information and you ran with it and you like made change. No,
sometimes really low points are these awakenings that we have, and they are like little angels in our life to teach us lessons that we can learn from. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to have failure, and we're all going to have like people disappoint us, or we're going to disappoint ourselves. But what can you take from this? What can you learn from this? You have to change your mindset instantly, right? Like I feel like the whole COVID situation, I know this is like all controversial, but I think at one point we're all going to go through it. It's going to hit us all, because I know people that are unvaxxed and vaxxed, and it's hit us all, right? But it's how you handle it when you get back, right? I mean, we have had people that pass away from it, people that have long haul COVID, but we just have to do our best as a nation to be positive and uplift each other up, whether, in our whole situation. It doesn't matter what your nutritional lifestyle is. I mean, there's team paleo, team this, team what the hell can I eat? It's the same thing. It's like these people, you have to go on these teams. We want you to be on team healthy. Like your healthy is going to look different. We're not saying you have to be plant-based. We're not saying you have to be vegan. You can eat your meat if you want to. You can eat your cheese when you want to. We're not like dictating anything to you. We want you to have a community where you can plug in, be accepted for your nutritional lifestyle. But we do know this, that people benefit from eating more plants, really, truly, right? So it's about, and people benefit from lifestyle factors, not just doing these crazy competition diets, or, you're only doing these crazy only CrossFit or only this. It's a collection of things that your body needs. So you're moving. So when you're moving, whether it's your lungs for breathing or your muscles to get strong, or just, stretching for that flexibility, you have to move. And so this is where we're at. Whatever exercise you like to do, we try to embrace that for you and help you. And we want you to connect with other like-minded people. Like, let's get healthy. Let's not judge each other of what lifestyle we're on. Let's just get healthy, right? That's what it's all about, right? Whether like, it's like, you're vaxxed, run back, who cares? Let's get this with love. There's a freedom of choice for people, right? Same thing with food. This compared to food, there's a freedom of choice. Whatever you want to eat, you have to do what you mentally can handle. And then also when you hit those low points, it's how can I make myself better? What do I learn from this? How can I make myself and improve myself through this journey? And then how can we talk as a collective whole without judging each other? Let's talk as a collective whole and learn from each other without like pointing, wanting to know who's this and that, whether it's nutrition, because it's kind of funny, like when all the whole stuff kind of like the COVID and vax thing come out, it reminded me of nutritional, like, are you team keto or team paleo or are you vegan? Like people like, and I was actually disappointed in the vegan movement for being so, I would say abrasive, because I'm like, let's say I've never been a pushy person on that. I want to encompass the lifestyle as a whole with a bunch
all welcoming.
All welcoming, that's the word I was looking for everybody to come together, you know what I mean? And Jackie's always like really good at that. Like that's why we connected, because we weren't like judgy with each other. Like our husbands aren't vegan, you know what I mean? My husband is more like, he eats vegetarian, but he will eat pescatarian too. Like he'll eat sushi here and there. He doesn't like cooked fish for some reason. It has to be raw on sushi, but he doesn't eat sushi all the time. But still, I'm not gonna be like, oh, judge my husband. He's on his own journey. I don't, like him being after the whole COVID situation, I was more like, I got to get in health. I got to move my body. I got to get sunshine. Like I was on the protocol, right? My husband's like, no, I need a burger and fries and have a Coke. Like that's and I mean, I was like, whoa, but I'm like, you know what? Just let it go. It's his journey of it, of course. And I'm like, just let it go, Marcy. There's nothing you can do. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm married to him. I'm not going to divorce him because he's eating a cheeseburger and French fries. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking Beyond Burger. He doesn't eat meat. But still, I'm like, you doing a freaking impossible burger right now? Like, that's the last thing you need. No, I was kidding. But at the end of the day, I still have to like let it go, because it's not my health journey. This is my husband's health journey. And it's in my own home. And it could be in your own home too, where people don't have your same views on anything, whether it's politics, religion, food. I feel like it always comes up. But if you treat it with love, you're going to get a better response than treating it with anger or judgment. Okay, so that's my little 2 cents.
No, 100%. And it's so true. People respond to love. Dean Ornish talks about this all the time. People don't respond to fear. People respond to love. So we need to love more and spread that love, and people will be attracted to you. And speaking of like how things are so different in the house, so that kind of is a very good segue into my story, because I grew up in the Midwest. So that's another reason I think you and I have jived so much, because we're both Midwesterners at heart, right? So I grew up in Wichita, Kansas, and we'd always like sit down for family dinners, and it was always so amazing. And like whenever my parents would go grocery shopping, they'd always like try and have healthy foods in the house. And by healthy, there was always meat and milk. Like I prided myself because I'd always have a tall glass of milk to drink with my pizza versus having, I called it pop back then, but instead of having like a Coke or whatever. But I have to say, my mother, from like, she wasn't always obese, but from like most of my life, my mother was actually morbidly obese. And that was one of my biggest fears, is becoming morbidly obese. And like a lot of times women, our biggest fear is like getting raped or having like these horrible things happen to us. But my biggest fear was gaining weight and being obese. And then my parents were also divorced, both were married. I had like 2 families basically my entire life. I have very few memories of my parents being together, but they co-parented everything. Like all my parents got along really, really well. It was beautiful. And one of the things, like whenever my dad was very, very prominent in my life whenever I was doing something athletic. So I knew that I didn't ever want to be like obese. And I also like loved exercise because I got my dad's attention then. So for me, it was like really, really important to be physically active and stay thin, go to college, and I ended up getting my degree in nutrition, practiced as a registered dietitian. But as I'm going through all of this stuff, I developed an eating disorder. in college, my very first semester. I was anorexic. My parents, they almost pulled me out of college and said, you are not going back to that college unless you start eating. That's literally like they threatened me. And I'm like, I had so much fun. I loved, loved, loved college. I loved being away. And they were like, no, you're not eating. You're like killing yourself slowly inside. So I agreed to get help. I started working on that. Mind you, I'm getting my degree in nutrition, and I am like figuring out like all these things that I can do to start like scaling back on my calories. I drank a lot. I started drinking alcoholically at the age of 12 or 13 years old. And I remember there was a semester in college. It was the semester I was anorexic, but there was a semester in college I didn't drink because it had alcohol had too many calories. I was wasting away. I used to put saran wrap around my body and run to campus and like sweat. It was like crazy, insane. I was doing crazy things. And then I became bulimic. I mean, it was crazy. And I was taking laxatives because I couldn't make myself throw up. Like, you can't make this shit up. So I'm just like going through all these things. I end up getting help with my eating disorder, but this like took years for me to get over my eating disorder, even into when I was practicing as a registered dietitian in the hospital and years later after that. And also I do start drinking again, and it just escalated. I ended up getting out. I wasn't a registered diet. Well, let me tell one little story, because my story, I became a vegetarian when I went to college. I never really liked like chicken and steak and fish. I never liked seafood. Never really liked any of those things. The only thing I did like was like hamburgers and steaks that my dad would make, my stepdad, because they tasted so good. And I always had a problem with cholesterol. Even in college, my cholesterol ran high. But I recognized that when I would like reel in my diet and start eating more plants, I saw that my cholesterol would come down. And I always knew very, very early on, and this before lifestyle medicine was a specialty, I always knew that I could, the way I lived my life was very, very impactful. Well, the dietitian that trained me, she's like a little god shot, seriously. She was vegan because plant-based was not a thing back then. This is like the early 90s. And she introduced me to Dean Ornish, T. Colin Campbell, Caldwell Esselstyn, all the grandfathers or the fathers of plant-based medicine. And I remember hearing back in the early 90s that if your cholesterol is under 150, you're heart attack proof. You're not going to die from a heart attack. I'm like, I need to do this. So that's when I would really start tweaking my diet. I tried being vegan for a very short amount of time. I'll have to bring on my roommate from that time, because I literally almost burned the house down trying to make chickpeas. And I was like, I can't do this. I failed wholeheartedly, but I failed, you guys, because it was my mindset. I thought in my mind that I needed cheese and milk and all those, but I didn't. Anyway, but I didn't know that back then. So anyway, I go on and practicing as a dietitian, and then I finally end up getting into medical sales. And when I got into medical sales, that's when I kind of lost my shit. I was traveling everywhere. I was entertaining doctors. I was having the time of my life. I was drinking so much. I got to take out, like, I had a full-on expense account everywhere I traveled, eating at the nicest restaurants, drinking all this amazing wine. Oh my gosh, so many stories. And it was so fun for so many years until it wasn't. I was literally so empty inside. I was miserable, but I didn't know what it was. And literally on May 15, 2012 is when I was working with I was working in Tampa. I used to live in Tampa. And one of my girlfriends who was up there, she had actually been in a 12-step program before, and she went back out and she was drinking a lot, and she confided in me, and she's like, I'm thinking about going back into a 12-step program. I'm like, girl, if you do it, let me know. So on May 15, 2012, she called me and she's like, hey girl, I went to a meeting. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, how do I do this? So I Google it. There's a 12-step meeting, literally 5 minutes from my house in South Beach. I go, and that completely changed my life. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, and it's probably good, because if I would have known, I might not have done it. But my sobriety is what brought me back to lifestyle as medicine, to plant-based nutrition, and it has grown and evolved so much since 2012. a couple years into my sobriety, I started going to plant-based conferences. I'm still in medical sales. I'm not practicing as a registered dietitian anymore, but I wanted to get back into this. And this is when I first heard the term plant-based, because it wasn't a term back in the early 90s. So I'm like, this is amazing. This is really, really cool. Started meeting so many people, started doing more work, got my coaching certification. And then it was 4 years into my recovery, my best girlfriend, Kirsten, who we were talking about earlier, who ate 50 freaking plants while camping. She is competing for a competition. I'm like, dude, I've always wanted to do that, but I could never stop drinking long enough for the training. And I'm like, I've got no excuses. I'm going to be 4 years sober. I've got no excuses. So I actually reached out to her. I'm like, here's how can I do this? But I'm only going to do it if I can train plant-based, and I have to have someone who's knowledgeable. And she's like, oh yeah, totally. So I interviewed a couple coaches. One coach was like, no, she was like, yeah, I can help you, but can you eat chicken and eggs every once in a while? I'm like, no, because that's not plant-based. I mean, it can be considered plant forward, but that's not the way I want it to be. And then my girlfriend, Kirsten, sends me this Instagram profile. I'm like, this bitch is hot. She's beautiful, fitness model. She's been an IFBB Bikini Pro. She's got all these accolades. And then I'm like scrolling. I'm like, oh, what? She has the E. Cornell plant-based nutrition certification. And that's like really, really well known in the plant-based world. I'm like, I need to talk to this woman. So I reach out to her on Instagram. She freaking reaches right back out to me. She responds. I get her cell phone number. She's got like all these followers on Instagram. I'm like, what? We get on the phone, fell in love from that minute. And guess who that woman was? I almost called you the B word. Marcia. And that's how it all started, you guys, I hired Marcia. She was my coach. She trained me for a fitness competition. I was all plant-based. She didn't make me eat any chicken or eggs. It was all amazing, amazing, amazing. Such an incredible experience. I competed the day after my 48th birthday. I did a photo shoot on my 48th birthday. We were in Orlando. First of all, that was probably one of my favorite birthdays because I wake up, she makes breakfast for me, a protein shake and all this stuff. We do a big photo shoot. I felt like a freaking princess. It was so amazing. And I have to say, when I was backstage, and then we'll kind of get into Plant Chics, but when I was backstage, there were so many competitors back there and they're like, oh my God, I haven't pooped in like 3 days. I haven't pooped in a week. I'm like, really? I've already pooped twice today. Like, I was eating a high carb, plant-based diet, doing a competition. I was the leanest I'd ever been. I looked phenomenal. I may not have thought I looked phenomenal on that day, but looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I need that ass again. But literally, I looked really good. I'm so proud of myself for the work I did. You trained me virtually. And then I decided after the competition, I'm like, my heart is not, I'm going into doctors. I'm seeing doctors all over the US, and I'm telling them about treatments for cancer when I know we can really help people with cancer, with heart disease, with diabetes, with you name it, immune disorders. Like, we can help people with lifestyle. And it wasn't vibing with who I was. And I got to know who I was because I'm now sober. I'm in recovery. I'm working on myself daily, daily, daily. And it wasn't resonating with me. And my husband saw that. He saw I was like dying inside even more. And he's like, all right, do you get your coaching business up and running? Instead of calling my business coach, which I had a business coach at the time too, I call Marcia, my fitness coach, my competition coach. And I tell her, I'm like, Charles is giving me the thumbs up. I can start my business. And do you know what she said to me? She goes, would you want to go into business together? I'm like, what? Of course. She's like my huge role model. Yes, I want to do this. And y'all, that's how Plant Chics was born. It was beautiful. And we've had so much fun. It's been like crazy. There's been so much stuff that's happened in this business together. But just like you said, Marcia, the reason we created Plant Chics is because we have similar goals for what we want to create, like the legacies that we want to live in this and leave in this world. We want to plant-spire. We want to help millions, literally millions of women find your healthy. And just like you said, Marcia, your healthy is different from my healthy, and our healthy is different from Tiffany's healthy, that's different from Erica's healthy, from your healthy, that you right now, I'm talking to you that's listening, it's different than your healthy, but we want to help you find your healthy. And maybe it isn't 100% plant-based, but you know what it does need to do? It does need to incorporate more plants on your plate, getting in those 30 unique plants every week. The rest of the stuff is all fluff. And just like you also said, Marcia, it's not just nutrition. It's the community. It's you guys. It's the tribe, y'all. We need to come together. It's a community of leaning in on each other. That's why we created the tribe. Our husbands aren't plant-based. We wanted more support. Some of you are, like some of you have partners, husbands, wives, whatever, that are plant-based, kids that are plant-based. And that's amazing. But we are stronger together, which is so incredible. And also, like, we need action. We need to be active. We need to move our bodies daily. We need to get outside, like Marcy has been talking about throughout this entire live. But literally, we want to help you find your healthy. And we're so glad that you guys have found the tribe. And we hope that you really do decide to lean in and get involved and like try some of our programs, or like reach out, connect with one another, share what's happening in your life. So many of you, you've posted in here, you're going through a cancer diagnosis, you're going through something else that's not Plant Chics related. But you know what? It is Plant Chics related, because we are here together. We only have this one life, and we need to live it to the best of our abilities. Exactly what you were saying before, Marcia. Like, we need to lean in and like lift one another up. It's so powerful.
No, it is. I love your story because you come from a different perspective from unhealthy versus mine. And I feel like if you're listening out there, there's a collection of people who've been bulimic or anorexic or struggle with too much drinking, or maybe currently an alcoholic. Like, we got you, right? We got you. You've done the fad diets, or extreme diets, we got you. Like, we've been through the roller coaster, but I think that's what life is about. And it's finding a community you connect with, that if you do fall off, the train, you're just like, I need help. Like, say you need help, we'll come back in and we'll embrace you. And then, when you're doing well, we want to hear how well you're doing, don't think you're alone in this thing called life. I feel like as women, we need to connect. We're a different breed, obviously, than men. Like, there's things you tell your girlfriend you just want to talk to, that sometimes your husband wants to fix it. And you're like, no, I just want you to listen to me, right? We all get that sometimes. Sometimes we just want to be heard, right? You want to be heard and you want to be seen. And we know we've been through our own personal struggles. It may not be the same as yours, but Plant Chics is about coming together as a community and trying to lift each other up. If we're feeling down, or cheering each other on when we have our successes and win, and just trying to be healthy, right? It's not about, even though we do encompass a plant-based lifestyle, it's not really about that. It's about finding your healthy, whatever your healthy is. Yes, from workouts to nutrition, sleep, whatever. And it's about creating a lifestyle, not a diet, not a crazy, like team, like if you're on paleo and CrossFit, like not even that. Like, yes, we want to connect, we want to bond, but I always tell people it's like a charcuterie plate, right? Life is like a charcuterie plate, and there's different selections in life that you're going to just sample and taste and enjoy it. Take your time and enjoy it, and try something new you haven't tried before, and embrace it. And if something doesn't, jive with you, then that's okay. Maybe check out of it and then come back later. You might like it later. There's so many times where I said, I'll never do this. And then never say never comes back to haunt you. Right. And we learned at the end of the day, it's not about doing anything extreme. It's about doing things 90 to 95% of your ability, right? Whether it's your nutrition, focusing on sleep, focusing on workout. When you put that 100% and then you fail, you have this expectation like you're a failure, right? And we're going to fail at many things. That's how you learn. But I think women have an all or, not as women, even men though, like we do have an all or nothing perspective. Jacque, we don't want you to do all or nothing. We don't want you to, like, we've talked about it. We've done it before. We've done these all or nothing things, whether it's lifestyle, like we're going to drink everything to the, till we're blackout drunk, or we're going to eat and binge out, like whatever it is, we've done it. And I would say 100% all out doesn't really work. And it doesn't work for us. So I know that 90 to 95%, if I focus on it, and take a little 2 steps back. If I had my little like fall down the stairs a couple, I could still get back up the stairs without the mental pressure, because mindset's always key. And we hope that you learn from every time we have a conversation. We invite you guys, you have the thread up, to talk on the thread, chat with us, and let's get to know each other, learn each other like via Zoom right now, because the pandemic, it's stressful on everybody. It doesn't matter what your lifestyle is, whether you have a healthy lifestyle or unhealthy lifestyle. It does help to plug into community, and it does help to work on yourself for the better, whatever it is. Working on one thing, master one thing, focus on it. It doesn't have to be everything. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. But at the end of the day, if you plug into the Plant Chics, I can guarantee you'll feel a little better, because we always have people who leave and then they come back and you're like, you know what? I had a lot of fun here. I want to come back. You know what I mean? And it's okay if you drop off. We're okay with that, right? We don't like, oh my God, so-and-so dropped off and, not posting ever again. No, we're just like, life is life. Life gets lifey. You have to do what you have to do and figure it out. And like, I dropped off Facebook or Instagram. Usually I post really consistent on our pages. So okay, if you follow us, or if you don't, I'll let you know. We have a Plant Chics account on Instagram, and that's more food, fitness, fun, and mindset. And we kind of educate you, teach you. We have our recipes. It's like a giant recipe book, motivation, fitness stuff, and tips. It's all there. But Jacque and I, personal account are our personal. Like Jacque, you might hear more about her sober stories and her lifestyle, or things that she believes in, which are completely different from mine, right? And mine is more, is about, like my past, like how I grew up in a negative environment and how it's changing. And I love stuff like health and beauty. I'm very aesthetic, and I love being creative, and I love stuff that's creativity. That's kind of my jam, whether it's decorating the house or organizing stuff or whatever it is, right? I love that kind of stuff. So you're going to see our different pages have our personal pages have different stuff, but we do tell our story through our pages. And know that even though we do post a highlight reel, we also post some of our lowlights. But I took a break from my social media after coming back from my family trip. First I was busy with work, and then it's like I got COVID that next week after, and then I got sick and I took some time off, and I thought, you know what? I just want to take some time off for a while and unplug. And everybody was writing me like, where have you been? What's going on? What's happening? I had people like, are you and Keith getting a divorce? Like, it was like craziness behind the scenes of my DMs. I'm like, oh, well, because I just dropped off. I didn't tell anybody. I wasn't making a big announcement. I'm just kind of unplugging. Of course, I still have Plant Chics going on, but it was interesting how many people who I didn't even think cared actually came out, cared. They've been watching my story and stuff like that. So literally hundreds of people wrote me on my personal asking if everything was okay. And I told everybody the truth. I just said, well, I got busy with work, then I got COVID, then I thought I'd take a step back, and just unplugging for a while just for my mental health. Okay. You guys, mental health is a really big thing right now, because we are going through a stressful time. And I thought, after coming back from coming sick, I thought it's not wise for me to go back into 100% like I was doing, because it's stressful, and stress suppresses your immune system. I have no doubt in my mind that's between my vitamin D and my suppressed immune system from being busy with anxiety and stuff from work and just life, and this pandemic, that I wasn't my healthiest self. And so I thought I just need to take back, and you have to reflect. And I reflected on it. Like, I'm going to ease back into all my duties, because going from 100 to getting sick to 100 is not healthy. And you guys have to recognize that in your own life, wherever that's at. You'd like to keep going type of thing. It just, sometimes the hustle culture, it's not healthy. It just is not.
Sometimes it's not healthy. Period.
Yeah, no, period at all in life. Yeah, sometimes it's, if you're going through a creative phase and you want to hustle, it's different. Whereas if you're burned out and you're trying to hustle, that's what I'm saying. It's bad. And I was going through a burnout hustle phase of Plant Chics, because we always have a lot of stuff behind the scenes going on. And it's a lot of work behind the scenes. It's a two-man show. I mean, we have a couple of people that help us, like a Facebook guy and some of our brand influencer brand, Monique. But at the end of the day, it's Jacque and I. It's a two-man show, and there's a lot of moving things going on, and it can be stressful. But you have to take step back, learn to break, to take pauses and learn to take breaks, or you can't get back into it, or you're going to come back in burned out. So I knew to unplug from my personal life, and I think a lot of people just like I stopped the train, they were like, what's going on? But I feel like I didn't owe anybody an explanation. You know what I mean? It's just I felt very comfortable with it. Like, before I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to explain myself and make a post about it. at this time I was like, I don't need to tell anybody. I'm just dropping off. And then literally people that mattered to me in my life, I wrote them back. People who I don't know, not to say they don't matter to me. I feel like I didn't owe them an explanation. I just left it in my DM hanging out. I just was like, no, like my old best friend from Spain, we always talk all the time. She was like, what happened? Where'd you go? What's going on? You know, I wanted to tell her, I told her, you know what I mean? Where some person I've never heard of or seen them, they reached out. I'm like, I'm not going to be stressed out writing this person back on my DM that I don't know. I just don't. So with that being said, you guys have to pick boundaries with your life, boundaries with your food, your fitness, your health, your people around you. There has to be boundaries. I feel like social media is a big one. Jacque and I work in social media for a living, and it's finding that healthy balance. And so when I have to take steps back to look, that makes me a better person versus I feel like I have to talk to everybody because there's a people pleaser, me, a recovering people pleaser, that I have to be careful. I will put everybody's needs before my own and get burned out. So if you're a former people pleaser or you're still here, if you are one right now, boundaries is a big one, learning boundaries. And I feel like I have to set those up as I go through, and you keep adjusting and changing because things will change on a dime for sure, especially if you're an entrepreneur. So that's what Jacque and I have learned through this whole thing is stay connected, learn and grow with us, and let's get healthy together.
Yes. And, you know, just a couple comments. Setting those healthy boundaries, it's so, so important. And your boundaries, again, it's part of finding you're healthy. It's going to look very different for each of us. And I applaud you for setting those healthy boundaries because it can be so hard to do. And that kind of goes hand in hand with finding you're healthy. Y'all, sometimes these things are not going to be easy. Like if you are not working out and it's something you need to add into your life, getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is going to be challenging at first. It's going to be hard, but recognize this little tiny small thing that you're trying to do, it's going to take some time and you've got to get accustomed to it. But guess what? If you're not a morning person, then maybe morning is not your best time to work out. Like for me personally, I need to work out in the morning because 9 times out of 10, if I don't get my workout done first thing in the morning or early on in the morning, it's not going to happen later in the day. And that has changed because like back in my sales days, I was literally working out like at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like that was my jam. That was my time to work out. Now I've got to get it in first thing in the morning or pretty close to first thing in the morning, or it is not happening. So again, it's setting those healthy boundaries, finding what works out, what works best in your life. And like you said, Marcia, like mastering one thing, just find one thing. Like what's the lowest hanging fruit that you can work on to help get you a little bit healthier? Maybe it's something nutritional. Maybe it's maybe you're going to eat like 2 different colors of plants with every meal. Maybe that's where you're going to start. Or maybe it is getting up and working out in the morning. Maybe it's going to bed earlier so you can actually get 8 hours of sleep. Like the sky's the limit. There's so many different things. Maybe it's adding like some prayer or meditation to your day, like in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever. Find something, that low-hanging fruit. What's one thing that you can do? What's one thing that you really want to do? Like you're super motivated to do it. What is one area that you can start mastering right now, starting today? And then once you get that going, like that ball is rolling, and then you can start adding something else on. So literally one goal, choose one goal. I know I posted earlier, what's a nutrition goal for yourself this week? What's an exercise goal for yourself this week? If that's too much to tackle, choose one thing. One. What's your one thing? So what are your goals this week? We do want to hear them.
Put it down in the comments and also let us know, what would you like to see more of? You know, do you want to see more recipes? Do you want to see more workouts? If so, what type of workouts? Mindset? Like, what are you struggling with? Let's hear some of the struggles and what would you like help with? You know, what would you like to see more with Plant Chics? Jacque and I always like to take inventory of things every now and then because you guys inspire us to create different things behind the scenes that we're going to be launching soon. And that helps us navigate that way. Because we're here, you know, with you guys, not just for you, you know what I mean? Remember, it's not a dictatorship. We're in this together, right? Like, we want to have fun with you guys, and it's about having fun, because if we're not having fun, why do it, right? We always say we've been saying that since the day we started. because sometimes, say like during this heavy pandemic time, some of the fun is sucked out, right? You're like, oh my gosh, like it's so like, whoa, even being on social media. That's another reason I backed off. It's like, I literally unfriended hundreds of people. I'm like, why do I follow this person? Or if they keep posting stuff that doesn't align with my beliefs, or it's just really aggressive, or they're always angry. I'm like, I just can't even deal with this person right now. Like maybe at a later time, I could like them or friend them or whatever. Remember, you can hit snooze on people. Just, you have to get in a good mindset. When my feed was showing friends and family, just everything had to be about COVID or pandemic or vaccine, it was just getting super heavy. And there was like not a positive thing. And it was like, they want to tell people to be on different teams. I was done with that. Like, I just like, why can't we just come together? Why can't it be just a freedom of choice for people? Like, who cares if someone got vaxxed or unvaxxed? Like, let's do this together. Like, who cares, like on certain things? I mean, there's some issue obviously that need to be helped and brought attention to. I mean, this is a crazy time. The past 2 years have been super heavy for people, but I also feel like there is the silver lining and beauty that will come from all of this. And we need people to be, there has to be people that are lights in the world for other people, right? We can't just get on this negative train and all be negative together, because we're not going to learn or grow from this. We have to be positive, and we have to connect, and we have to lift each other up and help grow and glow. So my advice is, how can we help you, right? That helps us help you and help ourselves. I feel like I grow listening to you guys, and we create things or challenges. And sometimes it is kind of fun just to dip out of real life, like what's going on in reality, and do something fun for ourselves, because fun is self-care, right? Sometimes things get heavy and we have a lot of responsibility, whether it's with kids, work, schools, what's going on in the world. Sometimes it's fun to plug into something fun. So what kind of fun would you like to see on here? Just throw out some things. We want to know, like, is there a new challenge? Because Wendy kind of brought up the challenge of we need a new back to school challenge. And then Jackie's like, ooh, let's do the plant thing. And then she made you the plant tracker and came up with it. So something like, what challenge can we do that can be fun for all of us as a group to do, just to kind of check out of some of the reality things going on? I want to know.
And just like you said, Marcia, these challenges are fun. Y'all, if this plant-based lifestyle, the Plant Chics, I'm not even gonna say plant-based, for the Plant Chics lifestyle, because not all of you are like plant-based. So if the Plant Chics lifestyle wasn't fun, I'd be checking out. If sobriety wasn't fun, I'd check out. We have to have fun. So yeah, like, what are some things that we can create and bring to you that would bring more joy, that would help teach you, that would help motivate you, would help inspire you? Let us know. Please, please, please do, because we are here for you. We're here for the community, and like for our own personal satisfaction too. Like, we have to have fun, and we love connecting with you guys, but we're also here to create content to make your life easier, happier, more fun, more vibrant. And again, what can we bring to you? What can we create? What kind of challenges are you interested in doing? What do you want to see more of? Just like Marcia said, we want to hear from you, because we are here for you.